Welcome to Florence, a city where the breath of art, legends, and great discoveries resounds through the ages. Here, stones of the streets remember the steps of geniuses, and each dome carries a whisper of ancient history. This city has not only preserved its beauty, but also become a living witness to how the Renaissance was born, how dreams became masterpieces, and legends became part of reality. We are going up to the Michelangelo Institute of Culture, where I came from Ukraine to study ancient painting techniques. Anyone who wishes can join and immerse himself in the atmosphere of creativity and beauty. So, friends, I will be here creating paintings with artists from all over the world. We'll come back here again and see how ancient masters mixed paints and what I managed to draw. Let's take a walk around Florence in the evening and see how it looks under the moonlight and the warm lights of the old city. I walk along Piazza della Signoria, the heart of Florence, which for centuries has witnessed loud celebration, public gathering, and important political decisions. And just on the open-air square is the real sculpture gallery. Here is a copy of Michelangelo's David and mythical heroes frozen in the eternal motion. Next, our path leads to the majestic cathedral basilica, the Duomo. Its dome, created by Brunelleschi, is considered a miracle of Renaissance architecture. In the evening, under the soft lights of lanterns, the mosaic facade seems even more mysterious, and the city around it seems to calm down to admire it with us. Florence by the day is pure light, playing on the water. The Arno River flows gently through the heart of the city, whispering stories of centuries past. Rising above the river is Ponte Vecchio, the oldest bridge in Florence. Its stone arches have connected the two sides of the city for more than 700 years. Long ago it was filled with butcher shops, but the Medici family replaced them with goldsmiths and jewelers, so their strolls to Palazzo Pitti would be followed with beauty, not the smell of roasted meat. Florence became the cradle of Renaissance, thanks to one remarkable family, the Medici. They were not only rulers but passionate patrons of arts. Through their support, the world came to know the genius of Botticelli, Leonardo da Vinci, and Michelangelo. The Medici believed that beauty was force capable of lifting the spirit of an entire nation. Lorenzo the Magnificent, the most famous of them, gathered poets, artists, and thinkers around him. His palace was less a residence and more a temple of art. And even today, as we walk through Florence, we seem to follow in their footsteps, among domes, frescoes, and statues born from their love of beauty. Florence is not only open-air museum. Not only a city where every stone breathes history, it's still very much alive and still filled with art. The city that once gave the world the Renaissance now opens its doors to artists from every corner of the globe. Painters, sculptors, designers, curators. Florence remains a guardian of beauty, yet it's a living beauty, the kind of this being created right now. The grand residence of Medici family, now a magnificent center of culture. Its house welcomed not only the masterpieces of the past, but also the bold experiments of the present. Inside these walls, international exhibitions, art residences, fashion shows, and creative encounters take place all year round. Old frescoes look upon new canvases, and the dialogue between past and present never stops. What's truly remarkable about Florence is that it hasn't frozen in its glory. It evolves, it opens, it breathes with new ideas. Every year, new sculptures appear in its main squares, sometimes daring, sometimes mysterious, and they change constantly, like the rhythm of life itself. The city seems to invite artists to leave their mark here, beside the names of those who created centuries ago. Delicious! Wow! Thank you that you showed me everything. In Florence, art lives not only in museums. Just take a walk through its narrow streets and you will find open workshops, studios. You can step in the street from the streets. Here, artisans create souvenirs that carry the soul of old city. I visited a few of these art studios. Right before my eyes, wooden boxes with medieval patterns come to life. Hand-painted trays, ceramics, paintings, and delicate jewelry. Each piece is unique, crafted by people who keep the centuries-old Florentine traditions alive.
Senti soldi. È una cliente. Che tanto.
If you are in Florence, make sure to visit the Leonardo da Vinci Museum. It's located right in the city center, just a short walk from Piazza del Duomo. Getting there is easy. You can buy your ticket at the entrance, and once inside, you step straight into the mind of genius. The museum is filled with models of Leonardo's invention machines he designed back in the 15th century. Flying device, lifting mechanism, war machines, water wheels, all reacted from his original drawings. Some of them you can even touch and set in motion to see how they work. As you watch this mechanism come to life, it feels as if time disappears, and you're standing beside Leonardo himself as he finished his sketches. Another section of museum is devoted to his anatomical studies. Leonardo explored the human body with astonishing precision, revealing its harmony and complexity. In glass displays, you can see detailed drawings of muscles, bones, and organs. Not to shock, but admire the perfection of human design. Of course, the museum also features a replica of Mona Lisa, his most famous masterpiece, the symbol of mystery and timeless beauty. Her enigmatic smile seems to follow you as if whispering that true art never fades. The Leonardo da Vinci Museum is more than just exhibition. It's a space where the genius of the past meets the curiosity of the present. Amid the narrow streets of Florence, just a little away from the cafes and shops, stands a building that looks more like a medieval fortress than a museum. Its tall stone walls, tower, and heavy arches still carry the breath of centuries. This is Bargello Museum, one of the most famous sculpture museums in the world. Long ago, this place was known as the Palazzo della Podesta, built in the 13th century, the first public building in Florence. Here judges, city officials, once gathered to make decisions and pronounce sentences. Later it became the residence of the city chief of police, Cava de Bargello, and from this title the museum takes its name. In those days, the place also served as a prison. They say that if you listen carefully, you can still hear echoes of the past, footsteps of guards, whispered prayers, the final words of those condemned. And perhaps that's what makes this place so powerful. Here, where a fair once lived, art has taken root. Florence once again transformed pain into beauty. In the 19th century, the Bargello was reborn. In 1865, it became the first national museum of newly united Italy, dedicated to medieval and Renaissance art. Its hall soon filled with sculptures, bronzes, ceramics, textiles, and icons, all telling the story of how the Italian Renaissance began. Today, the museum houses masterpieces by Donatello, Michelangelo, Benvenuto Cellini, and Giambologna, among others. Here you can see Donatello's famous bronze David, the first freestanding nude statue of a young man since antiquity. It stands not only with the beauty, but with the artist's courage, showing humanity not as ideal, but as something living, real, and vulnerable. As you move from one room to another, you can almost feel the birth of the new era, the moment when artists began to see the human being as the center of the universe. Every sculpture here breathes life, harmony, and their discovery of light. But Bargello is not only about marble and bronze. Its collection includes intricately carved boxes, weapons, jewelry, medals, and ceramics, each piece still holding the warmth of craftsmen's hands. One of the most delicate spaces is Ivory Room, filled with tiny miracles of patience and devotion. Among the legends of the Bargello, there is one about a sculptor whose soul could not rest because he left one of his work unfinished. It is said that sometimes at night, the faint sound of the chisel can be heard, as if artist still returns and perfects his creation, even centuries later. The Bargello is more than a museum. It's a symbol of transformation from power and fear to creativity and light, a place where sculpture speaks, where a stone remembers, and where it becomes eternal. As you step back into the streets of Florence, and glance of the more the withered walls, it fills us through the whisper. Remember, true art never dies. It only changes its form and waits for you notice. On a rainy street in Florence, I am going to the Art Academy, where I will have my final class in ancient painting. So what are we doing there? We're learning to work just the old masters once did, grinding natural pigments, mixing them with minerals, oil and egg, creating our own paints by hand. Following the traditions of the Renaissance, it felt like stepping back in time and touching the very origins of art. For my own piece, I chose an episode from Sandro Botticelli, Primavera, Spring. I tried to create it using an ancient technique I had just learned. Each group was guided by a teacher who told stories about art history, explaining how to see what the great master once saw. His work helped me dive deeper into the mystery of art, color, and light. Now this painting has become a secret symbol of my journey, a piece that holds a moment when past and present met in one breath. The atmosphere was truly magical. Artists from different countries surrounded me, each absorbed in their own world of color and imagination. We shared inspiration, studied ancient techniques, and rediscovered the beauty of paintings in its purest form. Now let's take walks through the Boboli Gardens, one of the most enchanting places in Florence, where nature and art live side by side, and history breathes in every breeze. Before us was the courtyard of Palazzo Pitti. One, it was the grand residence of powerful Medici family, and long before that a symbol of pride and ambition for wealthy Pitti family, who began building in the 15th century. Soon after, the Medici acquired the place and transformed it into the heart of Florence artistic life. The Medici loved magnificence, yet they also cherished the quiet harmony of nature. They created the Boboli Gardens as an extension of palace, a place of reflection, inspiration, music, and serenity. The best architects and landscapes designers of the Renaissance worked here, crafting every path, every terrace, every line with perfect symmetry and rhythm. As you pass under the arches of the palace and step in the gardens, it feels as if you are entering another world. The city fades behind you, and suddenly there is a space, light, and air, like breathed in different century. From the terrace you can see all of Florence, the dome of Duomo, the warm red rooftops, and the Arno River winding gently through the heart of the city. The Boboli Gardens are not just a park, they are a open-air museum, a living expression of Renaissance ideals. Here you feel harmony that artists and thinkers once thought the perfect balance between nature, art, and human spirit. Dear friends, thank you for joining me on this journey, for your last kind words and warm wishes. With love, Ukrainian artist Marina Stognieva.